Let me pause this. Well, good morning, folks. We got some people here in person and a couple online, and just want to say welcome after a holiday weekend. That's always a fun way to start your week. It's, as somebody said earlier, it feels like a Monday, even though it's Tuesday. So I cannot believe I'm saying it is September. Happy September to everybody. So today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. One, as you can see from my title slide here, is the List and Lock program through EPiQ Lending, and Barb will talk about that in just a few minutes. But I thought I would just ask, I've got a couple of people here. Anyone online, you can unmute yourself as well. Who is seeing listings sit on the market? Oh, I don't know, longer than 2 weeks.
I got just twitched a little bit.
Oh, okay.
All of
People
them?
here are
All
like,
of
oh my
them?
gosh, they're twitching here. So we'll get started with Barb. I'm gonna have to turn my camera around so we can pick her up. And then do you want me to go through my slide deck?
Yeah.
And you just
Yeah, I'll
kind
just
of,
put it right here.
yeah, just nod. Can you jump on? Can you see my screen?
Oh,
You're
I
not-
thought I'll just use this.
Oh, yeah. That's fine. Just you to move this over, but just nod and I will move the slides for you. Okay. So if you have not tried this new List and Lock, I want you guys to know this is an amazing opportunity and what it gives you. Barb's going to talk about all the numbers. That's awesome. But one of the things that I can share, because I've tried this myself, is it gives you an opportunity for a conversation with your clients. And that's what it is all about, is greater opportunity, greater visibility on your listings. But that conversation with your clients to try something a little different, to try something that's going to get you visibility all across multiple boards, both on social media and also with your own outreach to the neighborhood. There are lots of different ways to take advantage of this. So let me get Barb set up here. She's going to steal the camera here. There you go.
Hello.
Right.
See how this is looking here.
There you go.
Good morning.
All right.
Happy Tuesday. So we're talking about List and Lock, and as it says on the screen, drop the rate, not the price. So if you can make this work, it is fantastic for your sellers because, as you know, bringing down the sales price doesn't really help the buyers. It does get more attraction from buyers, but in the end, a lower interest rate would really help your client, the buyers more than it would the sales price drop. So the List and Lock is a program exclusive to EPiQ Lending and CMG Financial affiliates that allows home sellers to advertise a discounted rate on their listings before they find a buyer. The discounted rate increases demand and helps sell the home faster and for more money. So that being said, I probably should pull this up on my screen here, just so I have it in front of me.
Well, it's weird because the things aren't working because these came through earlier.
Oh, really?
They came one at a time. Sorry about that.
But anyway, it doesn't have to be after a listing's been sitting for 90 days that you do this. It can be before you even list it, having that conversation with your clients about, hey, this could possibly move your listing much quicker if we start this from the beginning. So say you listed the house, or say you were going to list the house for 500,000. Maybe you talk to your sellers about listing at 510 and offering the 2% in concessions or 3% in concessions, depending on whatever that number is, right from the start in your description, right? So in your first line of your description, you can say this listing comes with a discounted interest rate that could save your buyers a lot of money. And then obviously in the private details and remarks, you can, put the backup there for it, just like Melissa's done, and Nick's here today too. He's done it as well. It's a marketing tactic. There's really no downside to doing it. It's a $49 fee for your clients, and that's it. You or your clients can pay for it. So in this particular here, in this slide right here, so you determine the desired seller's concession to be contributed towards a lower rate. Now, whenever it says CMG, it's also EPiQ. Like I said, these slides were made for CMG Financial, and we are an affiliate underneath CMG. So we also contribute 1% towards that concession. So you would secure a list and log. We're not going to look at the one for $9.99 because that's if rates were going up and you would want to lock in before they went up. That is not the case right now. Rates are trending down. And so the lock now, pay later kind of thing is $49. So you would market the house with a discounted rate, attract more buyers, and sell faster. And it has been proven to do so with many different people. Obviously, it's not going to work for every single person that has a listing, but it does get eyes on your listing if it's done properly. So here's a look at what that would look like. So market rate 450,000. If you dropped the rate by 15,000 or the sales price by 15,000, as you can see, the monthly payment, only goes down about $80. But if you were to do the same price and offer the concessions, now the clients are saving $270 a month, the buyers are. So the seller saves $1,500 and the buyers save. And it's just a way of looking at the numbers. If you can make that work with your sellers and explain it to them properly. There's also a presentation that you can go into sellers with. So this right here, the next screen, where it says a 10-year buyer savings 32,400. And that's telling you what that overall savings looks like over 10 years. Let's
Oops,
see.
did that go to the right place?
The next screen.
Huh.
So raising the price to cover the concessions cost is still a win-win. So this is the slide that's going to show you that by even raising the price, but giving those concessions is still a win-win for the buyer and the seller. And any specific questions on this, you guys are welcome to reach out to me individually. We can have a meeting, we can talk over the phone. All of my information is in Melissa's newsletters, and I can also, I think it's at the end of this, it'll also be on the screen. But the compare list and lock to a price reduction and showing buying power to increase for the rate drop. So this is just the simulators, which I have not seen the simulators for this. I have to look, but
That's what it looks like.
and that's what it looks like right there. Market rate versus list and lock simulator. So remember, this is a marketing tool. $49, it gets people in front of your listing. Say your listing's been on the market 60 days and you decide to go with this. You change that first line in your description. Maybe you reduce the sales price by 500 or 1,000 just so it pops back up at the top of the MLS. And now people are seeing that description line. If you do it before you even list a house, then you're going to have even more advantage because all the eyes are going to be seeing that description first of all. And please interrupt me if you have any questions about this at all while you're looking at these slides.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to show you this. This is what the, I don't know why it's focusing on my picture.
We probably have
But this is what the sign writer looks like. It's very clear in person.
there you got it.
Oh,
There
okay.
you go.
Oh,
I didn't do it.
let's
It's all right.
see.
We'll do it.
Anyway.
Because of the blur.
I don't think it's a blur in the background though, is
I
it?
think it's probably a setting, but anyway,
Oh.
you'll see it on here as well, but this is, how big it is. It's pretty nice. It goes on the bottom of your,
Hold
your
on,
listing
hold it
site.
back up. I fixed it.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you.
There we go. So the QR code is nice because it'll tell you what today's rates are, what real-time rates are. So even if, like this one says 6.125 rate, you are allowed to get another sign writer if rates go down. So up to 2 for the life of this list and lock for that particular listing. But in this case, if somebody were to drive by, they could do the QR code and they would see that the rate is even lower. So buyers who were only approved for 380,000 can now afford possibly up to 450,000, depending on their whole credit profile and the concessions that are given.
Okay.
And so now we're on automated listing presentations. So if you go to my site, you can type in Barb Spitzock my site, MYSITE, And at the very top, it says sell. So if you see the, can you point with your pointer right there? You'll see sell at the top there. And when you click it, it's going to give you the option to put in your listing address, your sales price, and how much in concessions your sellers are willing to part with. Now remember, say they say 2%. That 2%, the buyer can use it for whatever they want. This is just to show them what that 2% would get them in a lower interest rate. So don't think that you or them are locked into giving that 2% just to the interest rate. They can use it for closing costs. They can still use it for whatever they want. This is just showing them that the interest rate could be lower to this amount and save them X amount per month. Does that make sense? So on this screen, then you would hit get started. And the next screen, this is where you would put in the percentage for the concessions. And remember, we give an extra 1% in addition to whatever your sellers have agreed to. And then the sales price, if it's a condo, manufactured home, or if not, you'd want to do that there as well. And then the next screen, it's showing you at a 3% seller concession, you can advertise as low as 5.25% on this particular listing. And it's giving you, I think you're one ahead of me. Oops, that's okay. But it's showing you on this screen all the different marketing materials that $49 comes with. So the first thing is the sign writer. The second thing is a listing image that you can, put out on social media. The open house flyer is very detailed, has all the terms and everything on there. So that's the thing that you would want to attach to your MLS documents. And then it comes with a custom property video, social media video, and social ads. So the social ad is a free ad that we pay for that goes out for 15 days to all the realtors within a 50-mile radius of your listing. No extra charge to you. It's all within that $49. So then the next screen. Yep. Oh, no, where did that one come from? Maybe I skipped past, hold on.
I don't know.
Anyway, my number 13, yep, is that one. So on the left, you'll see sell your house faster and for more with List and Lock. It's showing you the different concessions and the monthly buyer savings. I mean, so obviously you can see 3% is a huge savings on this particular scenario. So you can run those numbers yourself when you're in the sell screen. You can put in 1%, 1.5%, 2%, 2.5%, and you can see the difference in interest rate and the grid that goes along with it to see what the best bang for your buck would be to show buyers, right? Because it might be a difference between 6.125 and 5.5%. I mean, that's a huge jump, right? So you can play around with those numbers. So the lock later option functions essentially the same as the lock now option. However, instead of advertising a locked rate with a seller concession and CMG contribution, we will advertise the rate at a certain date with a seller concession and CMG contribution. So again, the sign writer is going to have the date you do the list and lock, or the rate from the date you do the list and lock, but that could change up or down. That's why the QR code is there, so that people can click that QR code and see what today's rates are, up or down from when they were when the sign writer was created. So
So this is really important for everybody to understand. When you're doing this, the seller is committing to whatever that seller concession is. It could be like she showed in that one example, the 3%. It could also be only 1%, right? And it'll just calculate a different interest rate depending on how much that contribution is added to the CMG amount. And so it's really important. You're going to turn that around. Okay. So it's just really important you guys think about that. Again, this is where that conversation comes in. So if you're talking to your client and talking about how they can leverage this to set this up for, again, marketing, it is an opportunity for people to see what the pricing can be for this property. And if you don't think showing an interest rate under that elusive 6 to show something that says 5.99, 5.75, that is going to bring eyes to your listing. And we've got another agent here that's tried this. I did one, but Nick, we put you on camera here. You want to just say, how did that work for you?
It was great. No, definitely got some interest on a couple stagnant listings. I mean, attracted some interested buyers. Unfortunately, from a financing perspective, they just couldn't qualify. It wasn't anything to do with the program. It was specifically their, specific financing situation. All things considered, I would do it again. I think that it worked exceptionally well, and unfortunately didn't bring a buyer, but I think it worked as intended, which brought some great additional views to my listings that were just kind of sitting there. So, yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
And again, Barb is explaining that this is a marketing opportunity. It is not necessarily getting Barb the client. I think in one of the scenarios you've shared with me, someone ended up in the office, used the program. The buyer already had a lender. She used this as leverage to go back to her lender, get that lender to give the 1% because she was already qualified and ready to go. So she didn't want to change what her path was, but it was a successful story. The home sold. And again, it gives an opportunity for that additional conversation.
Absolutely. And that's the main reason that you would want to use List and Lock. I mean, obviously, I would love to get a buyer out of it. But this is to help you when you're listing a property. We know that a lot of you are frustrated with how long listings are sitting, and in particular areas are sitting longer than others. And this is just an added marketing tool to help you move that listing. So with us contributing the 1% to reduce the rate even further, what do you get? This is going to show some of the different marketing materials. So we already talked about the sign writer, which is pretty cool. It grabs attention, right? People are walking by, driving by, they can scan that QR code. And obviously the rate is going to grab attention as well. If they've been looking, they're going to know what that rate has been. So if they see a lower rate than what they're currently qualified for, that's going to definitely spark some interest. So here's the paid ads and retargeting. So what I was talking about with the, with one of the videos, it's going to be going out like daily to over, I think it's over or about 50-mile radius from the listing to all realtors. So that itself is getting attention for them to bring their buyers to you. So the social media videos, they include multiple instances of the QR code and the as of date for rate accuracy. So then people can click the QR code to see what today's rates are. Absolutely, because they are changing every day, as you know. And they're about a half a point down from where they used to be a couple months ago. So today's national average, I'll tell you what that looks like. 6.53 is the national conventional average. The FHA national average is at 6.09%, and VA is at 6.10. Jumbo 6.47. So right around that 6 to 6.5, depending on what loan program they're going with.
And that's why when it can drop to that 5%, no matter whether it's 5.99, it is catching attention.
Absolutely. We haven't been there in a while.
Right.
So there's also buyer educational videos that we can share with them, because this is obviously something that you would have to get your buyers on board with. But really there's no risk as long as they're willing to give some type of concession, then whatever concession they're agreeing to is what they would have to stay with. And they can always change their mind and go up or down. There's opportunities to go into your list and lock program and adjust that. But this is just showing you some of the materials here. So scan me page. So you'll have that as well, that you can place in the kitchen or somewhere in the home.
So I'm just going to interrupt here. So again, I did try this on a property that my associate and I listed, and we did it before we listed the property. We actually did an open house that opening weekend, and I don't usually sit open houses, but I wanted to see how this played out, and so I purposefully did an open house. And that day, we actually had about 6 groups go through the home. And I have to tell you, this was the conversation, right? These buyers seeing that interest rate, that's what they wanted to know about. And we had several interested buyers. And a couple of them, we didn't take any information from them because they all said they had realtors, which was fine. And all of a sudden, literally, we had an offer at 6 o'clock that evening. The next day, there were other agents calling us about those folks that had gone through the open house. But we were already under contract. This is not a joke. This really just happened earlier this summer. And again, it was because we'd had that conversation and explained that the seller was contributing 2%. Now, the particular buyer didn't need this, but they utilized and leveraged that 2% to get seller concessions because they knew the seller was already willing to do that, which was fine. And of course, the seller had already agreed to contribute 2%. So there was no confusion when that first offer came in and they were asking for a 2% concession. So again, it's not necessarily that they're going to use the loan. It's the conversation for you to have with your clients and with potential buyers so that you can explain what the opportunity is there, not just on this property, but on others that the buyer has the opportunity to ask for some concessions right now. We all know sellers are giving them for the most part, right? As long as the offer price makes sense. So again, this is a great opportunity for those conversations. If you're somebody that likes to do open houses, and these are already, if it's already on the property, obviously being your listing, if it's on somebody else's property, maybe you have the conversation with somebody to say, hey, did you know that this was available? I'd love to do an open house. If you start advertising this, we can do a bang up job by my holding these open houses for you, and you're getting that out there. I can add even additional marketing for you. So again, a way to twist that, if you're somebody that does open houses, it's possible there are agents that have no idea this program is even available. I don't know whether all the other EPiQ lenders in our other offices are marketing as heavily as Barb is on this program. We've had great success in this office. Again, not just with Nick and myself. There have been several other agents that have taken advantage of it. And it's just something very beneficial to use as a marketing tool.
Well, thank you, Melissa.
There we go. Next page.
So I am on a page, is it before this one? Let's see. Go one more. Okay, I must have missed one. But yeah, it's a great tool to get eyes on your listing. A lot of people are frustrated with how long listings have been sitting. So the listing image, it doesn't have to be the front of the house. One of our realtors actually used like the family rooms. It had a really cool fireplace. And it was just really cute the way that she did the picture. And so that's what showed. And it looks just like this with this little discounted rate and the sign in the picture, but it doesn't have to be the front of the house picture for that. So the website and open house flyer. So the open house flyer is going to have a lot of information on there because it goes through the different loan programs and the grid. So what you'll see on the right side is you'll see FICO scores, credit scores on the top. And on the left, you'll see how much percentage they're putting down. So 3%, 10%, 15, 20, and it'll show what that rate looks like. Obviously, they're advertising the lowest rate, which you see in the bottom right corner of all those grids that's highlighted in blue. That's what's going to be advertised. But depending on how much they're putting down and what their credit score actually is what the rate would be. But I'm happy to explain that to anyone. And like Melissa said, I have talked to several clients that have looked at this program. They don't have to use me, but they're definitely welcome to use me. And, we will offer that other 1%, but some lenders are competing with me to do that. I'm just happy to get you guys a buyer and get your listings off the market, because I know it's been very frustrating these last couple of years. All right, next on there. So the lot confirmation page and dashboard. So one thing I've learned from my realtor partners that have gone with this program, you definitely want to talk to your sellers before going through with this, having them look at the video that they can look at for a seller. And then either you can fill it out for them and then you can print it for them to sign via DocuSign, or you can just send them to the website if they're kind of tech savvy. And then you could have them sign through the lot confirmation page, those two options there. And then throughout the process, there's going to be a confirmation code, and you can always go back in and change the concession. You can change the sales price if it's gone down. You can order your second sign writer if needed. But as always, if there's questions along the way, I'm here to help. And there's also a realtor presentation that happens, which I think is the same thing we're going through now. But if you wanted to go through it again, they have that, I think, almost every Thursday, and I can always provide the link for that as well. So the next screen showing 70,800. Let's see. Go back to 70,800. Let's see. So this is showing a 70,800, I believe, savings. Okay, so then we have the home seller gets up to 5,000 towards closing costs when they use CMG for their next home purchase loan. So
Oh.
if your seller does do the $49 and they are open to another lender than someone else they're talking to, they will get a 5,000 credit towards their closing costs on the home they're purchasing. So it's a very
Mhm.
nice incentive.
There you go.
So any questions for me? Anyone that's online? How many people are online right now?
About 3.
So 3 people. If anyone has questions, please speak up now, or you can call me directly. The next screen, I think, has
There we
my
go.
information here, my cell phone and my email. So this is also recorded, and you can go back through any of the details, but we're happy to help. I know Melissa has some things to add, but thank you so much for your time today. And Epic Lending, we're here to help you get deals closed. Thank you.
Okay, here, I'll take it. All right, so what I want to talk about, and I don't actually have any more slides here, so, but this is, let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. So one of the things we want to look at is that, right now, homes are sitting on the market longer than they have been, say, in the last couple of years. Now they're not sitting on there much longer, or they're not sitting there as long as they have in the past. When I started, or for much of my real estate career, 6 months was a traditional length of time on market. So for those of you brand new to the market and think that everything always sells within 2 months, 2 weeks, I'm sorry, 2 weeks, not 2 months, that's not realistic. But really, it's important to think about, different things to do as part of your operating plan with your clients. One of the things that I used to do was created a marketing plan for really the amount of time that was traditional for homes to sit on the market. Now, right now, I think my stats have been showing it's about 45 to 55 days. We'll have our office meeting next month and we'll go over that. But what I would do is kind of create a game plan for what we would do differently every couple of weeks. So some of you may be listing a property where there are tours, right? So there are neighborhood tours coordinated through title companies or through lenders. Oftentimes those companies will do those.
We serve and the other one.
We serve the Scottsdale, Phoenix. They all have tours. And so It's really important to look for those as one of those stepping stones. It may not be the first thing you do the first week out, but something you want to plan for. Oftentimes they're only once a month. So you want to see when those are going to be so you can try and connect with one of those and get that opportunity for a tour that is there for working on uh, uh, just an opportunity to have other realtors go through. The other thing you can do is set up your own broker tour where you get real estate brokers that you invite them specifically to come to the properties. That is a great way to get folks to attend and see what's happening. The challenge with that is making sure that you've got people that are going to attend. So if you get an invite to go to a broker tour, a broker open house, try to at least go to a couple of those because your fellow brokers need your support when they've got them. You kind of need to show up if you want people to show up for yours. And then if you're doing one, it's a quick call to say, hey, Melissa, I really appreciated I went by yours last month. Could you swing by my broker open? Really value your input to be able to come by and look at this property. And I think that that's a really positive way to get out there and make sure that your listing is getting that visibility. Some of the other things you can do is obviously hold open houses. That's fine. But making sure that your online marketing presence is as visible as possible. Make sure you've got some keywords in your things. If you're doing Instagram or Facebook, don't give all the details. I used to originally, when I first used to do these, when Facebook was really brand new, honestly, I would just put the link in there, right? Click link. It's really easy. Just snap it right through. Well, the problem when you do that is that the entire listing goes over there, so nobody has any reason to contact you. They've got all the data they need. So instead, if you kind of do a teaser, kind of like these slides that they're talking about with the list and lock, those teasers get people to want to call you or text you or instant message you and say, well, where is this property? Like, how many square feet does it have? Right? If you're able to talk about that interest rate, or maybe just even a new 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom in the North Phoenix area, and then leave it at that. Because people then that are seeing your stuff are going to want more information. Great opportunity to have that conversation then. Less is more, right? Exactly. Less is more. And most of us are under the impression that you want to give everything out there. In this type of case, you don't. You want them to connect with you and interact to find out more information. How many of you have ever had a client that said, well, I want a 2,000 square foot property, 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, and a 2-car garage? Well, you're doing all these searches and then you see one of those emails come through alerting you that there's this 4-bedroom property in the area that they want, and it's 1997 square feet. Guess what? Your buyer isn't seeing it, right? Because you set that at 2,000 because that's what they said, right? But sometimes there's something out there you're just missing because your search parameters are just kicking it out. So these are opportunities to, try to lead with just a little bit, and you may get somebody that's been looking in that exact area, but they were only looking at 2,000 square foot homes. Find out that this is 1997 square feet. Who cares about 3 square feet, folks? Even if it were 20 square feet off, most people aren't going to care. The problem is they're not even seeing it. So then all of a sudden you pull it up and go, hey, Sarah, I just wanted you to see this listing. I just saw it online and thought you might be interested. I know it's not fitting all your parameters, right? And so that way you can push that forward. So I encourage you to think about different ways to set up a marketing plan. I'm old school, so that literally means printing out a monthly calendar and trying to put dates that you're going to make changes. And included in that may be price changes, right? You don't want to be changing prices just randomly on a Tuesday because your client calls you and says, let's drop the price finally. And you're like, okay, yeah, let's do that. You need to work that into your planning, right? The worst thing to do is to change your price on a Saturday. You don't even get any of the lead in. You want to be changing prices on either a Wednesday or Thursday for that weekend. So that gets the visibility to get people there for the weekend. Now, the one twist to that is if you have a property that is most likely being sold to investors, those changes need to take place on Mondays. They work during the week, they don't work on the weekend. So you want those changes visible to them on a Monday or a Tuesday. Any questions here? I know he just walked it back in. No? Is there anything either of you are doing specifically trying to make sure that your listings are being visible through the long haul? I know, Nick, you and I have talked about this. We were just talking about the broker tours and those types of community tours.
So not so much of that, but I leaned into the Realty One ad spends.
Oh my
Like-
gosh, yeah, the boost.
Like with
The
the
boost.
boost.
Yep.
There's another one there's like 3. But actually, funny enough, I used it down in Rio Rico and it got me a listing and a buyer. So
So if you did not hear that, Nick said he was using Boost, which is in your one marketplace. And it's an ad spend that you do end up putting some money out, but it's not a huge amount. You choose what amount you want to do, depending on who your market audience is, your target audience. And Nick said he picked up not only a buyer, but a seller. Did you sell the property?
no, and that's the property that I used with Barb down in Rio Rico. I haven't sold the property specifically, but it did generate another.
Has not sold the property, but generated another listing and a buyer in the area. And Ami, you've also used Boost.
Yes, I use Boost every time we had a price drop. 'cause we
Every
had
time she had a price drop, she used Boost.
2 on this last one. Now, buying, make sure that when they come to you with that whole, okay, now let's drop the price now. You have a plan and you let them know, hey, we might be looking at price drops. So they know that this is what we're gonna be doing.
So just to repeat what Ami was saying, so again, this is that conversation with your seller on, if we're not getting activity in the next several weeks, whether that's 2-3 weeks, we need to be looking at price drops. One of the key indicators to me isn't that you didn't get an offer, it's that you're not getting showings. If you are only getting visibility at open houses, which is people driving by, there's an issue with your price. You need to be having that conversation with your clients that if we're not getting any showings or minimal showings, then we need to look at price. And again, you need to go back to your CMA, see what's happening with things in the area, what has gone under contract, what hasn't gone under contract, and then having that conversation and making a plan to leverage a price drop. Don't just throw a price drop in without doing that marketing to go with it. And I'm not necessarily saying Boost, but it's a great leveraging tool with that to be able to use Boost.
There's the other one that's for the marketing, for the postcards.
Oh, the postcard
That's what-
marketing.
Yeah, the postcard marketing, put that out as well.
So she also did the marketing, postcard marketing and sent those things out.
I'm big on open houses. I'm not gonna do my own open house, but I'm big on those open houses. So if you're gonna do that price drop, talk about that on Tuesday. Get everything set.
Yep.
For when I used to do them like Thursday morning, that
The price drop.
reduction.
So she's saying,
And-
talk about it on Tuesday and set the game plan up that you put it into action on Thursday morning, and also make sure that that marketing is there for the open house so people know that there'll be an open house that weekend. I would say you
Well,
could,
I say Tuesday because I'm looking for agents.
right,
so
so it needs
Tuesday
to be able to
I'm
find the
on the-
agents to do the
yeah.
open houses.
Because that way, that gives them enough time to do their marketing as well and get this out there on their social medias.
So the additional marketing. So, and I'm hoping that if you guys are doing open houses, 4 other agents that you are actually doing some additional advertising like your Ami's talking about. Now, obviously, your goal, if you're just doing the open houses, isn't necessarily to sell that home, it's to find buyers, right? So that's why you want to leverage being able to get out there and do some of your own marketing. So you're looking for those potential buyers. So.
Yeah.
All right. I know it's a little early, but I recommend you guys look at those marketing plans, figure out what you're going to do over a longer period of time. I know we would all like our properties to sell in 2 weeks. Somewhat unlikely unless you are pricing it below market right now. But I will tell you that people are buying. So there are buyers on the market. I look forward to seeing the numbers next week at our monthly meeting. And I will see you guys then. Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.